Hey y'all, I'm Caitlin. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable. I was asked to share my testimony for you all, so here I am. Sorry, I have a cold, so if I have a, so I'll probably cough in the middle of everything, and my voice probably sounds a little weird, which, that's okay. And then, so yeah, I'm just here to tell you my testimony. So, my childhood was pretty good up until everything started in third grade, which, get your first pair of glasses, it's just gonna be the stereotypical four eyes. In the fifth grade, I moved to a new school, and, I moved to a new school, started to hang out with the wrong crowd, but I didn't follow what they did, but still hanging around, all that can make an impact on you. And then in about halfway through the year of sixth grade, I moved to a new elementary school, and there I didn't really have any friends. I was still bullied. The bullying just got worse ever since I moved to that school. I still hung out with the wrong crowd and all that. And then starting in still in sixth grade. That summer of sixth grade, I decided to go to my friend's cabin with her. Parents approved and all that. And so we went up to her cabin, and she introduced me to some of her friends up there, which were like three girls who all lived together, and I was introduced to the Ouija board. We played with that for like an hour or two, and then weird things just started to kind of happen around us, so her and I decided to leave. And when we got back to her house, we went into her room, and she locked the door, which was not normal, so I became kind of nervous. And that night, I was molested by one of my used to be very close friends. After that incident, I became very self-conscious. I really cared about how I looked. I just felt super insecure. I began to fear physical touch. I didn't like it when people touched me. Even a little poke would trigger me. But I would act as if I didn't care, so I'd go around giving hugs and all that, acting as if I didn't care because I didn't want anybody to know that something happened. But knowing my parents could kind of tell that something was up. They just didn't know for sure. I had a fear of making friends, so I had so much trouble making friends. I did before, but that just made it worse. So starting in the 7th grade, first year of junior high, and that didn't go very well for me. The bullying just got worse. It went from verbal, which was just the normal for me, to cyber, which was a very big deal. I had to change my Facebook account like 3 times, and like 3 or 4 times in 2 years. Something like that. And then it went from cyber to physical. I would get shoved into lockers. I was followed, which was very scary. Like, not followed to my house, but just followed around the school and like to my bus and all that. The bullying there got to a point where I was even threatened to be killed, which was very scary. I began to even more just fear the people around me. um, I and again, I did what I did best, and I didn't tell anybody. I just acted as I didn't act as myself, but I acted as if, yeah, I just acted as if everything was okay. And um, I moved schools. I don't remember why, but I moved back to my school I went to in 5th grade because it's a charter school and like a middle school and all that, so it's grades 5 through 8. And there I really got into the wrong crowd still, but this time I slowly started to follow what they did. And the bullying still continued, but it wasn't as bad as it was in the old school. It was just mainly verbal and cyber, which is still bad, but like I'm saying, it wasn't like super bad. And yeah, and then that summer of 7th grade, it was a very hard summer for me. On July 31st of 2013, one of my best friends, we considered each other sisters, I guess, she made the decision to commit suicide, which was very hard for me. I remember just being into shock about that. And after that, I was just done. I became very angry with God. I didn't even believe in God anymore. I hated everything. I became super depressed. Life just became super hard after that. About a week after that happened, I began to self-harm. It was mainly just 1 or 2 little cuts, but that still meant something. And people began to tell me it was my fault that my friend was dead, and I was told that so many times throughout in 3 years, which I'll get to, that I broke, and I began to actually believe it throughout those years. Starting in 8th grade, I began sexting, and I had an addiction to that. Yeah, and then my self-harm grew 10 times worse. I became very addicted to that in just like 2 months. And about just a couple months in that first school year of 8th grade, I got into the wrong crowd. We'd pass these demonic notes to each other, and the notes became just demonic to sexual, which that was hard too. And in that group of friends also, they would tell me that they considered me, just the dumb and ugly friend, the dumb and ugly friend. So that's just what I thought friends were, that I would always be that person in that group. So I didn't really know what true friends were. In that year, I developed an eating disorder. And then, food was a very hard thing for me. And then in 9th grade, people still began to tell me that it was my fault, that my friend was dead. I developed a binge eating disorder, which is where you eat too much than you should. And, and my self-harm grew a lot worse. It would pretty much just be 50 to 100 cuts on each body part. And it became very hard to actually hide it. But I managed to for a while, finally. But, truth always gets revealed, so got revealed. And, And then by then I've already had 2 suicide attempts. Didn't work, obviously, and no one knew about them. And sorry. And then on like at the end of January, my family found a suicide note, and so they told me they were gonna put me in the hospital. Oh, on that very Monday, because it was a Friday when they found it. And so that weekend, on Sunday, which was February 2nd, I decided that I was actually going to end it. And so I got everything ready. I got dressed all nice. I blasted my radio, just the normal. Well, I don't get dressed nice in my room all the time, but I'm saying, like, I blast my radio a lot. And I got everything set up, and not realizing what radio station was on, I'm about to actually, I guess, drop myself from the chair when the song Redeem starts blasting on my radio. And after that, I couldn't do it anymore. I got off the chair, and I pretty much just laid on my floor and just cried. And, yeah, and then around so that Monday I was hospitalized, and that's when my parents figured out about the suicide attempt. And then I stayed in the hospital for about a month and a half in the mental health department. When I came home, my mom told me about a place called Mercy Multiplied, which is a home for girls with like depression, eating disorders, like who wants to die or who self-harms or unplanned pregnancies and all that. And so I applied for that, and I got accepted. But then about 2 to 3 months later, I was back in the hospital for major self-harm. I was in the hospital in the mental health department again for a month. And when I came back, I remember sitting on my couch, and suddenly my sister comes upstairs telling me I have a phone call. And right before that, I was planning on actually dying this time. Then I told myself it was going to work. And then my sister comes upstairs telling me I have a phone call, and it was Mercy telling me that I can come into the home on September 2nd. So I decided that I should wait. And so before, so then I entered the home on September 2nd, and I remember on like September 21st, it was probably around 8 o'clock at night, maybe, I was laying in my bed at the home, and I was reading Joshua 1:9, which I don't know exactly by heart, but this could be it. And it's like, be strong and courageous. No, for I have not commanded you. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you. I read that, and suddenly a light came inside me. And the next day, I accepted Jesus into my life, and after that, my life actually began to change. I was actually happy. I actually smile without it actually being fake, and I know my answer is not to go self-harm or anything like that. I know it's to go to God. It has been 6 months since I've 7 months since I've self-harmed, and, yeah, so I just want to let you guys know that you have hope, and that there is hope. You just gotta look for it, and you have to accept it, because there is a light. Because you have a choice, and I always chose dark, but now I know that I gotta go for the light. So, I hope you guys liked it, and yeah. Bye, guys.